Okay, mom. I like it like this because you can see your earrings.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where'd you get them from? They're super cute.
Oh, I got them from AliExpress.
Yo! AliExpress come through.
No.
You know what's crazy? I bought an abaya from AliExpress.
Oh, they actually have nice things.
It was the prettiest abaya. It's navy blue and it has pearls all over it.
Oh my god, that's pretty.
And it's got those like cool, that bat wing style.
Okay,
It
yeah.
was so nice.
Bat wing.
So nice. Welcome.
Welcome back, guys.
Do you guys like our conversation about AliExpress?
Absolutely.
Who else has shopped there and what's any recommendations? Look at Hina's earrings, yo. Gorgeous.
This was my like test. It was like, should I order from this website? Should I do it?
Well, I ordered two and girl, the abaya was $14. I was like, I can't even get socks for $14.
I don't even know how much these were. Probably under $10.
Yeah. And then I was
like
like,
that.
okay, let's just test it out and see what's up. But I got a coffee grinder from there and it's trash.
Is it?
Yeah. So
Have you ever ordered from Temu?
yeah.
I've heard about it. I've never ordered.
I think I have the app. Actually, I haven't ordered from there.
Huh.
Was it from? I can't remember.
I need to like see what's popping up.
Yeah. Guys, what's up? Tell us what's good. What do we order from
Tell us what we
AliExpress?
need to order. Link it below.
And welcome to the episode.
Welcome to the episode
While
today.
you're linking all your AliExpress goodies, subscribe to the channel.
Yep.
Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Give us those 5 stars, please. It means the world to us. Also, we love like reading all the things that you guys write about it. It just makes us so happy.
I know.
And make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram. And on that note, for those of you who complain that our episodes are too long sometimes,
Yeah.
we are going to get right into it.
We're going to get right into it today.
We had kind of a hot topic this week.
Yes, we did.
What was the topic, Hina?
The topic is shame, 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 shame. Shut 'em. Hiya.
I was gonna say, sharam karo, Hina, sharam karo. How many times have you heard that in your childhood?
Like a bill. Girl, I still hear it today. Kuch sharam kiya karo. Lihas kiya karo.
My mom is always like, sharam haya karo. Sharam karo, bataniz.
Sometimes you're saying like, I ain't got the sharam and I ain't got the hiya.
Utar diya sharam. So this was a good topic. It came to us because we know that a lot of the things that we talk about actually revolve around the feeling of shame.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And whether we talk about like your relationships with others in your life, or whether we talk about scenarios you've been through, things people have said to you, those toxic aunties, it revolves around them making you feel shame.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we thought this would be a kind of a good thing to talk about, to discuss with everybody here. And we posed this question on Instagram, and a lot of you guys really shared some crazy stories.
Crazy stories, and also just like your opinion about things that have happened maybe in your life or in the lives of other people that you know that was revolved around this whole topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just before we even get into it, again, we'd like to say we're so sorry that these things have happened to a lot of you. We have had our fair share of this, so we totally understand. Nobody should have to be experiencing this kind of shame to this extreme, to this level. So we are so sorry. Thank you for sharing. Everything is always anonymous on our end. So thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. And let's get into it.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say, it's anonymous until y'all be mean to us, because then we're name dropping.
You know?
I'm kidding.
Shut up, karo. Okay. I feel like that's going to be the line of the episode. Shut up, karo.
Shut up, karo. Hey, Nico, shut up.
Hey, nahi, kya karo?
Okay.
बेच दी थी मैंने शराब
मुफ्त में. Okay.
डॉलर तो मिलता नहीं.
Honestly, we cannot be serious at all, clearly. Okay.
And that's another thing. If we read your scenarios and we laugh about it, giggle about it, joke about it, don't take us seriously.
Yeah, guys, we got to make light of the situation.
We're just here for the laughs.
The best way to get through trauma is to laugh at your trauma.
We are Pakistani, and my daughter was shamed for wearing glasses at the age of 6 by a family member. He would always see her and ask, does she have to use these? Are they permanent? And made it a comment to make it seem like it was always her fault. In the Pakistani community, this is viewed as shameful and something is wrong with that person. Sabr and silence. Fast forward 5 years later, now that family member, his wife, and all of their kids have to wear glasses. Bye.
I don't know. I don't know if it's something that's shamed in the community.
It is shamed in the community.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wearing glasses?
Yeah. There have been some rishta situations in my household where when we wore glasses, it would be a
wore
comment.
glasses?
I have glasses.
What?
Yeah, I just refuse to wear them.
I didn't know that. I know your sister wore glasses.
Yeah, so guys, I basically have like not great vision, but I hate wearing glasses and I don't wear contacts, so I walk around half blind all the time.
So you can't even see me really.
Like I can see you because you're this close. But if you're standing like a little bit far away,
Be like, I can't really figure out, but she's there.
so this is a good thing for me to let everybody know. If you guys see me in the distance and you guys are waving or you're all like, and I'm doing one of these,
Like, who are you?
just know this. Aru just like, I don't know if I'm legally blind. You know what I mean?
I'm stunned in silence.
Yeah.
I'm stunned that you
I
have
told all my
glasses.
friends that she's like, I'm never getting in the car with you.
No, now I'm like, can we be friends? Because I have to shame you for wearing your glasses.
Shut up, Karo. No, listen, can we just sponsor Aruja's LASIK surgery? Let's go.
Y'all, we'll send up a GoFundMe. We'll send up a GoFundMe for her. Everybody, come on. Roll through with those donations.
Come on, y'all. We could do this. We could do this. So, yeah, we had a few rishta scenarios. Actually, I think when we were even talking about the rishta process, I had a few people DM me too, like privately, saying that they would wear they would have a rishta. And they didn't necessarily like want to be part of the rishta process.
Yeah.
But their mom would force them and their dad would be like, no, just come downstairs. Chalo ek dafa mil lo. Isme kya hai? Milne mein kya hai, right? And you come downstairs and you're wearing glasses and the mother-in-law was like, why is she wearing glasses? And you're like, Auntie, I just met you. Why are you commenting on my jishmish? What is it? Jishmish?
Jashmish. Y'all. She is mishmashing everything. Oh God. Laughed.
Jashmish.
Yes, Uruje in her jashmish going down to see the dishlanti. Slandering her.
This is why I didn't get that Islam. It was not the glasses on. It was like,
No, they didn't get you. They didn't get you, girl. You didn't want that rishta. Let's be real.
No,
I can't believe that.
They say like jashmish.
Do they really?
Yeah, it's like a.
Y'all,
Somebody
can you
clarify this for me.
Yeah, but in Urdu it's jashme.
Jashme, huh?
Jashme? Yeah, it is jashme. Jashme, yeah.
Something.
Anuka. No, why are you making it so hard? Well, you gotta make it so difficult. We're saying it like the Hina Mandi poetry, like jashme. Okay.
I'm back.
All right. So yes.
Anyways, yeah, but the glasses thing it's an issue because mother-in-laws will be like, oh, but we don't want her to wear glasses.
That is the most.
It's gonna hide her beauty. Yeah.
Do they not know that there's other options available?
Also, like, what? Okay, what if somebody needs to wear them? Like, I don't know how you're out here telling me I can't wear glasses when I am blind and can't see you.
Yeah.
I need my glasses.
You know what? Okay, like for example, there's little kids, right? And then sometimes these kids need glasses to like correct their vision or to correct their eyesight, and it actually like it genuinely helps them. And they wear for a certain time, and then the glasses come off.
Yeah,
right. And so I feel like, why are you going to judge somebody based on like a condition that they have?
Honestly.
That is so horrible.
Yeah, but it goes back to like other people who like it goes with everything, girl. Braces, your height, your weight, your hair. Whatever, like anything they have an issue with, they just pick at it.
Yeah, we had a lot of people message us and talk and say that they were shamed for being either too thin or too big, and people would just constantly cut them up for that and shame them for it. But like, my thing is, how do you know someone doesn't have an underlying condition?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're just gonna come on there and like, well, let's be real, these aunties ain't a size 0.
Yo,
okay, let's just be real. They're enjoying their lacha paratha.
Yo. And they're duboing their cake ras and their chai.
You know what I'm saying?
Hara sabah ko hame pata hai. We know you're not
fair. I know that. We've talked about this till like we can talk about this till we're red in the damn face. The damn that process and these things happening. You know, I actually never thought that, and that's why I was like, I don't know if that happens in the Pakistani community, or even the Desi community. I didn't know if that was such a big deal.
This is totally the glasses thing. If any auntie is rejecting you because you wear your glasses, maybe she doesn't. But maybe she doesn't want you to see what her son's all about.
Oh.
Just be like, Auntie, if I remove my glasses, I can't see your son.
Oh.
Maybe that's what you want. Because he ain't that.
He ain't all that. He ain't all that. Okay, so another thing that people talked about was the shame that you feel when you are discussing mental health. If you say that you are in therapy, even if you say you're in like marriage counseling, people are like, what? Like
They just, yeah, they're just like, "Kiyama taki."
yeah. But I think whenever you say something like, oh yeah, I'm feeling very like depressed or like I have anxiety, like if your parents are religious, they'll be like, go pray. You're not praying enough.
Or like immediately if it's like depressed, they're like, "But why are you depressed? You have a roof over your head.
Yeah.
You have food in the
What
fridge.
is there to be depressed
What is
about?
there- Yeah.
We've given you everything.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that, like, yes, you gave me everything, including trauma.
No.
You gave me all of it. Packaged it up and threw it at my face. No, I think that there's so many things that can happen outside of even your like parental home. Let's say you didn't experience that with your parents, but let's say you had like really horrible relationships that you were in or whatever it is. There's so many things that can lead you to feel like inadequate or depressed or have anxiety. And then you go out of your way to be like, let me see how I can fix this for myself. And then people are like, oh my God, ew, you're getting help. Like, what the heck?
People are so judgy and you
Yeah.
get a lot of shame for that.
Yeah.
But you know, on the flip side, I also know parents feel shame when they feel like their kids are going to therapy because they think you're going to disclose your like family secrets.
Which you are.
Which ultimately in therapy you're going to talk about. But you're going to talk about
Yeah.
what it is that you go through and how your parents make you feel, right?
Yeah.
And parents obviously have an ego and they don't necessarily want to hear that they were wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
And so they feel so much shame around therapy because they're like, you are going to go to a stranger and tell a stranger about like our family secret.
Yeah.
We don't like that.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, talk to us about it. But you know, they're not approachable. You can't talk to
You
your
can't
parents
talk
about
to your
it.
parents because they, first of all, they're so biased. They're never going to understand. Okay.
Yeah.
I also think that like, let's say they do understand, like they haven't, like, they're not professionals. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I would even say like, let's say your mom or dad is a therapist. I would never want to go to my mom
Well,
or dad.
isn't there a
to be
conflict of interest?
There is 100% a conflict
Yeah,
of
like
interest.
I wouldn't even go to a friend right now.
Same. I agree with
Go to
you.
somebody who's completely
Yeah. And on top of that, it's like, you have to like also know that like, there's like a whole confidentiality thing. Like
Right.
they can't share nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I know what you mean. I think that they would also feel ashamed that, you know, you're going to disclose certain things that maybe they think they didn't do, but you felt like they did do.
Yeah.
But I think especially now when like mental health is like, it's such a big deal now. And it's kind of like starting to like be more out in the open and normalized. I think it's such an important thing to do, to be able to be better for yourself in the future, for your kids in the future. I don't know if that's something that you should be shamed for. Like, it's just crazy to me.
I just don't think it's going to be something that our community will accept.
No, I don't think that they'll accept it now.
Yeah.
But I think if more and more people are like in therapy or like if more and more people are reading about it and trying to fix themselves and be better, then I think it can be normalized leading up to the future.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. I just don't know how many. I think it also takes a lot for a person to reflect and be like, I think I should be going.
Oh yeah, for
right.
sure.
And so I feel like if you are also able to do that, then that's big on you too, to be able to recognize that you need that help.
But the truth is, the ones that really need the therapy are probably the older generation. Like, they need it, guys. They need it.
Hina said what she said.
You know, I don't mean it in a mean way. I actually genuinely think that it would allow them to understand us better.
Yeah.
As well as like their grandkids.
Yeah.
And it would give them a lot of tools to be able to like break away from all of their these thoughts and beliefs that they had growing up that might have been completely wrong.
Yeah.
And then be able to be better as people moving forward. There's nothing wrong with that.
And they can also recognize that, hey, some of the things that I went through that was normalized, like this is how our family is supposed to do things. You don't necessarily have to do it that way.
Yeah, you don't.
And moving forward, you can change that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it also depends on like, do they even want to change? Because I think the change is so hard, even for us, change is so hard for anyone.
Yeah.
That like sometimes even trekking on that journey to change is like, oh, do I really want to deal with this emotional baggage?
Yeah. Did
But
you
I
watch
think
the new Inside Out?
No, but I'm going to.
Okay, I haven't watched it, but I saw the trailer for
It's
it.
about
And
like
what
anxiety and stuff.
Yeah, because they have the 4 emotions,
Yeah.
and then as the girl grew from a child to a teenager, they introduced anxiety and all these other emotions. And I feel like when I saw the trailer, it was so like eye-opening for me because I was like, oh my God, that is the age when it just comes. The emotions emerges from nowhere.
That's so true.
Right? And then you don't know what to do and you don't know how to explain what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with mental health in our community where you're feeling a certain way. Let's say you are prone to having panic attacks. Okay? So like a social setting can spike that.
Yeah.
And you are most likely to like let's say you have to present in front of a class and that's going to lead you to having a panic attack. Now you're experiencing like your heart is racing, you're sweating, you are like, you're like almost inconsolable, right? At this point, how is somebody supposed to come and tell you, oh, just go pray, you'll be fine?
Hell
when
no.
you know that your body is physically experiencing something,
yeah.
and like prayer is not going to be the solution for me at this moment when I'm having a panic attack.
Exactly.
And some of these things you just need to learn coping skills, hence where therapy comes in, to understand when I'm in this situation and I am experiencing a panic attack, what can I do to help myself in this controlled environment?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because sometimes you have it alone and there's nobody around you to help. So you really need to equip yourself with these tools rather than relying on other people for solutions.
I don't think you can rely on other people because they can't always be there for you, and you have to know that. But I think it's the fear of loneliness that makes you feel like you need somebody to be there.
That's true too.
You know,
the fear of loneliness is such a big
and it's
fear.
in everyone's kind of like scared, like, oh my God, I don't want to be alone, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that. But yeah, exactly to your point, you have to figure out what are the tools that work for you, because the tools that work for someone else might not work for you. You have to find your way through that and like figure it out. But
when I was doing my program, and there were some times when I had to make a presentation and I was not confident in what I was presenting on.
Yeah.
And I remember I'd be sitting in the classroom and my heart is racing and I'm sweating.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And my heart is racing and I can't even take, because we would have a lecture for the first half and then we would do presentations the second half. And I'd just be sitting there. My heart is racing. I'm sweating. And everyone's like, you'll be fine. You're going to do fine. And I'm like, it's not that I'm going to do fine.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, let's just say I am going to do fine. It's me building myself to make my way to the front of the classroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And as I'm doing that, I'm shaking, I'm nervous. And it was so bad that at times my Apple Watch would be like, your heart is racing, but there's no movement.
Oh my God.
Like I would have notifications coming up because I'm just sitting in one place, but my heart
all
was
that anxiety's
racing.
like,
Yeah, and then I'd go up there and I would like fumble on my words.
Yeah.
I would not know what to say. I had cue cards and
Yeah.
I'd be prepared, but I know that. And I remember I always start with the presentation of, I'd always start off like, I'm really nervous right now. So just, if you don't understand anything, just ask me questions because I wouldn't even know what I'm saying. Right? So it's like in that moment, I don't want to hear somebody coming and telling me like, you have a roof over your head. Why do you have anxiety? Like,
getting angry hearing that. Like, shut the hell up.
Like, you have food in your fridge.
Oh my
You know,
God.
people don't even have like a car. They have to walk to school. You're so privileged.
So retarded, yeah.
Privilege. I understand my positionality. I'm just seeing in the moment, I'm having anxiety.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think, I think you, like, even when you're sometimes talking to someone, right, that is like super accomplished or like someone that you really look up to, you might have that moment as well where you're just like, I'm going to fumble my words. And once you fumble it and you think about the fact that you fumbled, it's game over. It's over. It's goodbye conversation.
Snowball effect.
It literally is. And so I think like you going through that, first of all, I think it's amazing that you still went up there and did it. Because I think slowly it helps build it back up.
And the thing is, it only does, unfortunately, get better with practice.
Yeah, I think so too. But I also think like those are specific situations. But then there's certain situations where like certain anxieties don't get, like you might be practicing it and might not work for you in that way. So I think people's approach to it is very like, it's just an approach where they don't understand it themselves.
Right.
And they repeat what other people have said to them.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's what our parents would say to us, guys.
Exactly.
Like, there's no need for you to be sad. Be happy. Be happy. You have everything. And it's like, believe me, I want to be happy. It's not that I want to stay here. Nobody wants, for anyone that has anxiety or depression, like nobody wants it.
Right.
Nobody's like, yes, I'm anxious. Everybody's like, I want to get through it. I don't want to feel this way, but you don't know how to get yourself out of it. So that's why I think it's so important to talk about it and for people not to shame you over something like this, because you making that step is actually showing that you want to progress and you want to do more for yourself.
You know what I think is challenging? I think it's challenging. Like, let's say you have somebody in your family who experiences severe depression, right? And let's say, I think I talked about it on the show. Have you watched the show Made?
No, but I've seen like little clips of it here.
So it's like a limited Netflix series.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
good. And there is a scene in there where she goes through like extreme depression, right? And they try to show as best as they can what depression might look like.
Yeah.
And it was literally her lying on the couch and they show like the clock is just ticking,
Yeah.
and the whole day goes by, and she has a daughter.
Yeah.
And the whole day goes by, and you see her daughter coming to her, and she's like, "Mommy," and she'll like say something, and it's like all faded.
Yeah.
And like her mom can't comprehend really anything that's happening. Okay, hasn't eaten anything, hasn't slept. Like there's like a glass of water in front of her, she hasn't touched it. And then they show like a break from that scene, and then they show her literally in this like black hole.
Oh my God.
And it's almost like she's in a well.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like looking up. And when she looks up, she sees her life passing by, but she literally can't get out of that. And it was like a great visual depiction of what depression may look like to someone, right? Not everyone. Again, it's very different.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, how difficult must it be if, let's say, your mom goes through that?
Yeah.
And you are now in that home as the child watching your mom go through that. And all you know is that your mom never does this. Your mom is like the woman in the kitchen.
Oh my God,
Right?
yeah.
Making food for everyone, doing the pickup and drop off, stay at home mom, laundry is done, socializing. She's got like a great social life.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden something happens and now she is
A trigger. Yeah.
something, right? And now she's on the couch
That's so sad.
and she physically is unable to move.
And you don't even understand.
You don't understand.
Yeah.
As a kid,
Yeah.
you don't understand. So it's so hard for even kids who experience their parents going through that to understand how to even support their parents.
Yeah, because sometimes you're like, I don't even think my parent understands what this is.
Exactly.
Like now you can look back and be like, okay, well, if my mom was going through that, right? Like I'm thinking if my mom was going through that, I don't think that she would even recognize that that is what's happening.
Right.
I think she would just play it off like I'm tired or something. Or like I don't feel good. They would say that. As a child, you would just also think she doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Like you would never be able to like dive deep into it because maybe you're not even there mentally. It's never talked about. It was, to be very honest, I actually remember growing up and like people would talk about like mental health and depression and it would be like, oh yeah, like they had to go to a doctor for it and like they had to be on meds and like did this and that and whatever. And it was like so looked down upon.
Yeah.
Like so looked down upon. And sometimes you're just like, they probably needed it. Like
Yeah.
now when you grow up and you realize you're like, they were really going through something like that obviously had such a huge impact on their life, whatever they were going through. And they didn't have a support system to help them through it. They didn't have someone to like, be like, hey, go and see someone. You know what I mean? And so as a child, you're looking at them being like, okay, well, she's sick. I don't know what it is. She's just sick. But as an adult looking back, I'd probably be like, oh, okay, well, obviously there was something more than that going on.
Right.
But you couldn't even address it.
Do you
couldn't
know
address it.
the only time I ever heard of mental health and depression was postpartum.
I didn't even hear about that until I had a kid.
So, I knew about it, but that was the only version of.
Yeah.
Also sucks, by the way. Why is it the only version of depression that's like predominantly spoken about in our society?
Yeah.
Or that's the one that's excused?
Yeah.
Like, She had a baby. She has PPD.
Yeah,
We're gonna excuse it right now.
100%.
And-
So much more excused. It's also not excused, but it's more like common.
Yeah.
Commonly
Right?
discussed,
And so if for example a mom is on like meds because she has postpartum depression, it's like, okay, we're not gonna shame her that much.
Yeah.
She has postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And that was literally the only time, Hina, that I ever heard the word like depression used in a way where I was like, oh, it can actually affect somebody's lifestyle.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was never spoken about.
Well, when I say I actually did not like I don't think I knew it existed, but I never thought that I would get it.
Yeah.
And like when I went through it, like looking back now, I'm like, I 100% had it. There's no doubt in my mind. But I myself was just like, I'm just down.
Because when you're in it, you don't recognize it.
Recognize it at all.
But you also
girl,
don't
like-
recognize yourself.
Like I remember I had my daughter, okay? And this is not it's not because you have the baby. It's not that you don't love the baby. That's what I'm trying to say. It's more just like it's such a huge shift in your life. The change is so drastic and it's so quick, okay? And so and then your life is pretty much gone. It's gone. Bye, okay? And then you sit there and you're like, I'm trying to feed this baby, but the baby won't be fed. Or she's not feeding properly. She wakes up all night. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm so sad. I feel so lonely. I want to get out, but I can't because this baby's attached to me all the time. And no one else can take care of the baby except me. And you sit there and I remember I would literally sit at home in my room for days. Okay. And I would not leave. And I remember at one point my dad was like, we're going out. Like, we're going to the beach and you're coming. And I said, I don't want to go. And he's like, I don't care. You're coming. And then I was just like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I remember when I went there, I felt so much better. But even when I was there, I was just sitting there on like a beach chair, like holding my baby. And then my sisters were like, give us the baby. Like, what's wrong with you? And like, they took the baby. And then after that, I remember my sisters, like, they would come and they would talk to me about it. And they'd be like, Hina, like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. You know, you need to ask for help more. Like, you're very like hyper independent. Like, it's okay to ask for help. It took a long time to get through it.
Yeah.
I remember your sister and I had a lot of conversations.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
Because
You're welcome.
It's
I feel like it would be helpful to
yeah,
people.
but it also
Yeah.
like it makes me so sad because when I met you after you had Emma,
Yeah.
the handful of times that we did meet,
Yeah.
I could never tell her.
You know what? I think that's always how we portray ourselves.
That's the thing.
And I think like in that moment, your sister she had her kid maybe a month or two after mine. And I just remember I was so grateful that she was there because I was like, somebody is in the, like, not that she was like me, but like, I mean, like somebody was there
Yeah.
that I could talk to, that I could relate to. You know what I mean? And so that, like, having that friendship was really great. But I also feel like even though at that time you didn't have kids,
Yeah.
we did hang out a few times. And I feel like it always lifted my spirits.
Good.
Just being out with friends. But getting to that point where you felt comfortable to take your baby out to even hang out with your friends, that was the part where you felt like, oh my God. But you do feel shamed for it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to act depressed when you go out with your friends because you're like, they're going to think something's wrong with me. So I have to like put on a smile, do my makeup, look good. But inside you're just like, the night rolls around. Remember you talked about this? The night rolls around and you're just like, oh my God, I can't handle this. And it was always the nights.
You want to know something? There are some nursery rhymes that trigger my like postpartum depression.
Yo, they remind me of horror movies. I can't even like listen to them.
Like, there are some that I'm just like, every time I hear it, and if I hear it in the winter, it just brings it back.
Is
like,
it this one like da-na-na, da-na-na?
No,
I hate that one.
It's one of those Coco Melon ones. You know, like the please and thank you ones.
Oh God,
where
I've
they
heard
like
so many of
sign
them.
and whatever. I don't know. I just know it's when it comes on and it's like wintertime and it's 5 p.m. and it's dark outside and I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, this literally brings me back to how lonely I was when it was just me and my son, and it was around this time and I was with him and he was listening to this nursery rhyme.
I'm telling you, songs bring up a lot of
A lot of emotion, yo. You know, I do have to say, when you had Asher, I had Idris like 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
I think he's or 3 weeks later,
Yeah.
and it was really nice that I knew somebody who was going through literally step by step the exact
and
same
it was
thing.
like a boy, and it was like the second,
and it was
and it was COVID. It was COVID, and
Do you
it
remember
was.
when, you told me Asher had his rash?
Oh my God, Uruje! It was horrible.
I know, and I think you went to Sick Kids.
I went to Sick Kids, and like, you don't even know, man. Like, in that moment, I just remember like I took him to my mom's and I was just like hot mess express. I'm standing there and he's like covered in this like rash, which ended up being like eczema. Okay. And it was so bad. The eczema was so bad that I've never seen it before. Okay. And I just remember like bawling my eyes out.
I know.
Bawling my eyes out. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like,
What's
it was
wrong
so
with
bad.
him?
Yeah. And you feel so lonely.
Because I remember what had happened was you went through that, and a few weeks later we all got COVID.
Yeah.
And Idris got a rash.
I remember you told me
And I
about
sent
that.
you pictures. It wasn't as bad, but I
Yeah.
remember I was like, yo, what cream are you using?
Yeah.
Like, you know, will a bath help?
Yeah.
Like, should I add anything in the bath? Like, and you were giving me all the tips because I was like, oh my God, Hina, the rash is so bad. Because apparently like a COVID sign in babies was like a rash.
A
burn.
rash.
And it was all like on his forehead and on his back.
And he
like,
was so small when
was
this
like 4
happened.
weeks. And when he got COVID, the pediatric ward at the hospital shut down.
Oh
because
my
Like,
God.
COVID spread like wildfire in kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I remember the doctor just came up because I spent one night overnight
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the Emerge, and the doctor was like, listen, just go home because it's safer for you at home.
Oh my God.
It was really bad in the hospital.
No, I feel like it was a really scary time because
my God, it was so scary.
no one really knew what COVID was.
And honestly, I know people like, there's this whole conspiracy around COVID,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But a lot of people did pass away.
Yeah.
And it really took a toll on people who already had health problems.
I know.
It really affected them.
No,
so I just,
yeah.
you know,
I know people that passed away
So do I.
as a complication from COVID, and like it was really sad, and like
So sad.
You don't like, I don't know. It's just there's so much anxiety around that at that time.
Yeah.
Like, it was so hard. It was so hard.
Oh my God. I remember when we got COVID, I started crying so much because I couldn't go anywhere to get a COVID test done. So I had to get a nurse to come into our home.
Yeah.
And she came in like full suit, okay, suited, booted, okay?
Oh my God.
All I could see was her eyes. And she came in and she did like the little nose test or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, if it's positive for me, it's going to be positive for my
Yeah.
kids. They're too young. I don't want you to stick anything up their nose, right?
Yeah.
She's like, cool. It came back positive, and I was like, this is worse than a pregnancy
Oh,
test.
God.
Oh, Lord. Oh my God. And I was panicking. And then I like sealed Farhan in one room. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
it was so bad for him.
Oh my God.
Like his symptoms and my symptoms were like zameen asman ka farak.
Really?
Yeah. For me, I was still okay. I was managing. I was masked up.
Yeah.
But I just felt it a lot in my throat. It just felt like a regular cold for me.
Yeah.
My kids, Ibrahim, asymptomatic.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. He
God.
was fine, thank God. And Idris obviously got the rash and the fever
Yeah.
and whatever. Farhan couldn't even get out of bed.
Oh
He
my
could not
goodness.
physically, like I would leave him food and it would be there all day. And I'd FaceTime him after and he's like, Aruj, I can't roll out of bed. And I'm like, do
Oh
you want
my
me to come in
gosh.
there? Like, what can I do? And he's like, I don't know, I'm gonna try. And he would like literally be like trying to roll off bed. Like it took everything out of him, every ounce of energy out of him.
That is so
It
scary.
was crazy.
That is so scary.
So like everyone, it affected everyone differently.
It affected everyone differently, and I feel like, you know what, like it was a scary time.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
And the damn world shut down.
God, for real.
Gosh,
Let's just add on to our depression and anxiety.
right?
Why don't we?
I genuinely feel like COVID really added on to everyone's.
It amplified.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Everybody was at home, and I know y'all were making those banana breads and those like freaking
The damn sourdough.
starters. What the hell? And I was like, yeah, I was joining them. You know,
I
maybe
was
not-
too, guilty.
I was doing the banana breads.
Guilty.
Okay. But
Okay.
then I was also just like, is this what we want to do? Is this going to be the rest of
Oh
our
my
life?
God. And you want to know something? Everybody was making babies at that time. And the PPD was exponential. We all went through postpartum depression. It was during COVID. We blame COVID, okay?
Blame COVID.
Yo, I got a really funny one.
Okay, go.
I always get shamed for not having enough fruit in my fruit basket.
Why do you not have fruit? No, you know what? I'm not going to shame her. I'm not going to shame her. She probably doesn't have enough fruit in her fruit basket because a fruit costs $1,000.
Yo,
okay?
but also, you get fruit. It's lying in your basket. No one in your
rots.
home is gonna touch it. There's fruit flies everywhere. The banana is sard ke gal gaya hai udhar, okay? What do you want me to do? Go back and spend another $60 on fruit?
You use the son of a banana in your banana bread. We just talked about this.
You know how many frozen bananas are in my freezer? I make this plan in my mind. I was like, it's okay. They're so brown. It's gonna make the best banana bread. Put it in the freezer. Who touches those bananas? No one.
Oh my God.
Nobody eats banana bread.
That's my sister.
Yeah, and then I go to No Frills and I see the farmer's market banana bread and it looks delicious and I buy that.
Oh my God. Okay, honestly. Yo, the fruit does sour, okay? Like it does. And I am definitely one of those like girls. I'm such a snooty fruit girl, okay? Where like you get a bag of grapes and then I have to like touch the grape. If it's even slightly mushy, okay? Even if there's even a slight mush, if there's even one brown dot, that fruit going in the trash,
Oh my
okay?
God,
It's
you're
not
one
even
of
going- no,
those.
it doesn't always go in the trash. Sometimes I just feed it to my kids.
Yo.
But like I will not eat it myself, okay? Because I'll be like, this is too gushy for me. Like I can't do this.
You know what I do now? I'll just go to Nando's. I'll be like, yo, are you getting blueberries? Are you going to Food Basic? Can we split a pint? Because I can't afford this.
Everything is so
She
expensive.
came the other day. My mom saw my fruit basket. Khali pada hua tha, okay? Khali. Also, how is it khali and I have fruit flies? Someone
Right?
explain this to me.
I don't
Where are
understand
these
that
fruit
either.
flies coming from?
The damn fruit flies.
And
I
then the
can't.
next day, my mom showed up with peaches, some apples,
Oh my God, I
and
love
orange,
that.
and she's like, "मैं तुम्हारे ना ये भर रही हूँ." So she slyly knows how to shame me without actually saying it to
You
my
need
face.
some vitamin C, Rouge. Come on.
She'll be like, "मैं इधर रख रही हूँ, बच्चों को खिला देना."
Iron की
That's the
कमी है.
first thing she says. बच्चों को खिला देना.
Okay, I have a really good one.
Okay, go.
The shame you feel when you date someone and other people find out. Ooh. The shame. It's literally like Game of Thrones. She's ringing that
Yeah.
bell. Shame. 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 And people throwing fruit at you. The rotten fruit.
The rotten bananas.
The wrong apples. I'm telling
Why do
you.
you feel shame? Why do you feel shame in that scenario?
Because
I'm curious to know.
I think I know why. The reason you feel shamed is because it's not allowed in our culture.
yeah, it's true.
Right?
But, like, what if you actually like this person and this person likes you back?
Yeah, I get that, but I think our parents would never be like, हाँ जाओ date करो.
हाँ, नहीं वो तो कभी
जाओ
नहीं लो.
उस लड़के के साथ बात करो. Ash करो. They'd be like, are you friggin' kidding me? Like,
Oh my God.
They would never do. I think that's what it is, that like that generation was like, you will never date as long as we live. But I also feel like there's a lot of progressive parents now that are like, well, what are they supposed to do? Where are they going to find these guys? So then they do let their kids date, but it's I would still say that like the dating is within boundaries.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
I don't think if dating will ever really be normalized in our community.
I don't think so either. I don't think it would be either. But it is, I genuinely feel like it is becoming very common.
Yeah.
Where like, and it is common now where, I mean, people do want to find their own person by themselves.
Yeah.
Which I also understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I also see why parents might have said no.
Girl,
I get it.
girl, parents are always gonna say no.
No, but do you feel like see, the reason why I think I understand is because when you're younger, you can get like very manipulated easily.
You can. Maybe I feel like there is an age thing that comes to it. Like if you're dating in high school, okay, and you're like, this is the love of my life and all these things or whatever, your parents are gonna be like,
what do you even know about love of your life?
tu टिक के बैठ जाओ, okay?
Yeah, like focus on your studies. That's what they would say.
Yo, my mom will be like, bande da puttar ban, okay? Like, we are not bringing this into this home, okay? But if you're in your 20s, and let's say you're in university,
Yeah.
I think it's so healthy if, like, I've never experienced this,
Yeah.
but I feel like it would be so healthy if you had a relationship with your mom where you're kind of like, Mom, I kind of like this person.
Yeah.
You know, do you think I can, like, just, like, go out with him for coffee and see, like, what's what?
No, Aruj, you can't. Then what?
Then you do it in secret.
See?
Then you're like,
she finds
Mama,
out.
मैं फातिमा के साथ जा रही हूँ.
No, but then watch. Okay, so you're like, oh, okay, mom, yes, I'm gonna listen to you. मैं आपकी बात सुनूंगी. And then Aruj rolling through Matari, like you know how Aruj says. Okay, you know how Aruj does, rolling through Matari, going on this date with like
In my
Farhan
mom's Toyota Corolla.
She's going on this date with Farhan D-Lo, let's just say. Okay, and then all of a sudden your friend's mom walks in and they're like, Aruj, beta, ye kaun hai? And the way you'd roll to your mom's house after that would like, please, mujhe maaf kar de.
I don't even think I could ask
shame.
Yeah, but you can't initially ask for forgiveness. In the beginning, you just take the dant, okay? 'Cause your parents are gonna yell at you, and you just sit there quietly and you take it. Then afterwards, you're like, "Main nahi kabhi karungi." And then what do you do the next day? You're like, "Mama, main Fatima ke saath ja rahi hu." I'm back at Matari. There we go. It's the cycle of our dating life.
I still feel like you would get shamed for it regardless.
You do,
okay?
100%.
But also, what about the shame you feel when, let's say, you did date someone, you end up marrying them, and even then you're like, I can't let other people know that we dated. It was just like, we're just married, right? Like, I feel like that's a very common thing too, where like you feel like, okay, you know what? I did do this, and maybe my parents even know, but I just don't want other people to find out in the case that they might think that like it was something that shouldn't have happened the way that it happened. You know what I'm saying?
There are people in my life. I know y'all are listening. Okay. If you ever do me dirty, I'm gonna tell your parents. I'm gonna tell your parents that y'all did. You could be a mom with 6
100%,
kids.
100%.
You could be a dadi. Your kids would be married, but nobody can know that you dated your husband.
Absolutely. That's so true. That's so true.
I won't actually do that, y'all.
No, I know you won't do that, but I feel like the reason why it's like that is because you actually feel like, or maybe like your parents make you feel like, don't tell anyone. You know what I mean? They might say to you like, fine, we know, but like you don't go and tell other people.
Also, sometimes only one parent knows.
Yeah,
Like
the chill parent.
Yeah,
the chill parent. There's always one. There's always
the
one.
chill parent will be like, listen, we're just gonna say it happened to Rishta auntie. You don't say anything, I don't say anything.
Yeah, but then okay, so this is a question I have for you. This is a question I have for you. Let's say real talk, okay? You dated, you found your match. Let's say you and Farhan dated, you found your match, okay? And now you have kids. And your kids ask you, Mom, how did you meet Dad? What do you say? Do you tell them the truth or do you not tell them in the fear that if I tell them, then they're going to be like, free pass. No, I can do this.
Okay, if completely real talk, I think depending on the age,
Yeah.
I would see what I want to say. Because if
understand.
they're younger, I don't think they would even understand.
But like I'm talking, let's say they're in high school, going to university now. Like let's say like
I think when the kids,
17 to like 20.
yeah, I think if kids hit a certain age, like when they're like 20,
Yeah.
I think it's okay to be like, yeah, well, you know, we kind of like dated beforehand. But I think if they're like in their teens, I don't know if I would.
Okay, but then what if you don't say it,
Yeah.
right? And you say, you know what? Like let's say, you know, my son is like 20, okay?
Yeah.
Or not 20. Let's say he's like 15.
Yeah.
And he's like to me, "Oh, did you date?" Right?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, "No. Absolutely not." Okay?
Hame se काम
And
नहीं
then,
करते.
yeah, and then 5 years down the road, I'm like, "Yes, I did." Then don't you think that he would be like, "Oh, well, why did you not tell me then? Like, why did you tell me now?"
It would be one of those conversations where it's like, I didn't tell you at that point because you were too young to understand the
point.
concept.
Yeah.
And the way that I dated and the way that I had to go about it, I don't want you to do that.
Oh, I love that.
So if you are going to date someone, cool, and that's fine. And you're at an age where it's acceptable. And
Yeah.
I think you, like, how else are you going to find someone? Go and whatever. But obviously be open and like communicate with your parents.
Yeah.
And also, I would also throw in the safety aspect of it because I think dating can also get really scary.
Yeah.
So I think I would be like, listen, there's a safety element to it. Let me know where you are, who you're with. Make sure you take care
Yeah.
of her, da 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 da, all these things because you are now responsible for this person that you were with, right? But I think I would say like I couldn't have these conversations with you when you were 15 because you wouldn't have understood at that time.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Who knows what would actually happen when they're at that
I
age?
think the fear that even I would have is that like if you give them a free pass so early on,
Yeah.
it's a little scary because then
It
you're
is.
just like, you know, when you're younger, you have all these hormones be flying everywhere. You don't know what's going on.
Honestly.
Okay. You really don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so then your kids are like, and they have these relationships that turn into this and turn into that. And honestly speaking, like I just feel like that time in high school is like such a chaotic time that like that's the last thing you should be focused on. That's my thought on it.
I also feel like I know there are a lot of people who are like high school sweethearts.
yeah.
But I do think that generally speaking, most relationships don't last in high
That's
school.
what I was gonna say. Like,
Right?
I know people that are high school sweethearts, and then there's like one person that I talked to, and she was like, "Yeah, we were high school sweethearts, but I actually wish that we hadn't done that."
Right?
Like, I wish we had actually waited and given ourselves time because we were not mentally and emotionally mature enough to make a life decision.
Yeah, yeah.
What the hell do you know at that age?
That's what I'm
You don't even
saying.
know what to take in university, and you're telling me you're gonna pick a life partner?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like if most relationships, even I'm not even just talking about like romantic relationships,
yeah.
even friendships might not
I
last.
agree.
You know what I mean? So I think even in though when you're at that age, you feel like this is your whole world. Like it's so hard to see beyond that.
Yeah,
world, you know what
yeah.
I mean? Beyond the four walls of your high school. But I do think when you're a bit older, like it's a good conversation to have because you can let your child know that, hey, listen, you're at this age. We also have these, like, let's say cultural, traditional, religious values.
Yeah.
So within these values, now that you understand them and you can uphold them, you can now also go ahead and try and find someone.
Okay, so now leading into the next thing.
Okay.
Let's say your child is 20, you've had this conversation with
Okay.
them, okay? And they're like, "Okay, cool, mom, like I might like someone, whatever."
Okay. Hi,
You go to you go to an event, girl. You go to an event. All
hi.
you know, these ladies that are just like, you know, like same age, you know how it is, you know? And then and then you find out from a third person that some of these women are saying things about you, such as, and shaming you and saying things like, "Oh my God, yeah, she lets her son go on dates. She lets her son, ye badi khulli maa hai, khulle haath wali maa hai." Like,
खुली छुट्टी दी
अपने
हुई है.
बेटे को तो कुछ भी करने देती है. Like, you know how people say that
Yeah.
stuff? You know, like I even feel like
Modern.
modern. You know how people, even I would say in our moms' generations, okay, there were certain moms that were a lot more like liberal, okay, and like the way they would get slandered.
Yeah, they do. They do.
The way they would get slandered, like, "Oh my God, kulli chutti," like she doesn't care about her kids at all because she lets them do anything. Like, itna bhi apne bachon ke saath friends nahi banna chahiye. Like,
free nahi hona.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, there should be a limit and stuff like that. What do you do in that situation?
To be
Because that's
honest,
also hard.
It is really hard. And I think if the judgment comes, I would just take it. And I just ignore it. I'd be like, if that I want to raise my kid the way I want to raise my
facts.
kid, right? The judgment is never gonna. This goes back to, these are probably the same moms who are like judging me for going back to work. For example, you didn't spend those tender years with whatever. And it's like, y'all, you didn't have to pay for my bills. You know what I mean? I had to go back. My circumstances were different.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think no matter what age you are at with your kids, the judgment is going to come.
Yeah.
Right? But in the long run, if I can give a bit of freedom, but also develop a relationship, an open relationship with my kids, where we can have a conversation about this, then all that matters is me and the safety of my kids.
Yeah, but what if she comes up to you and I love how I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But like, what if, because I'm like,
keep it coming, keep it coming.
Like, what if she comes up to you and she's like, you know, I know our daughters are friends, okay, or I know our sons are friends, but you know, I just don't want him to think that he can also date, because in our household it's not like that. But because he's friends with your son, and your son is kind of, you know, he's like allowed to do whatever he wants, because obviously you're not a good mom. and we have these high standards for our children. Okay. So yeah, you know, I like, can you just tell your son to like maybe distance himself a little bit?
Cool. I'll just be like, do you know what your son does in high school? Because we all heard the stories.
She let that out.
I'll just be like, you know, all the Ahmed that he hangs out with all the time. Oh, we know who that Ahmed really is.
Damn.
It's Ima from next door.
Oh, okay. But you know what I would do?
Walk away.
You would have a conversation. This would be me. Let's go. You want to roll? Let's go. Let's go. And I would be like, Uruje, hold me back. Hold me back, Uruje. There's two ways of doing this, guys. You can do this approach. Uruje's approach is always the better. Or you can do the Hina approach, which will probably land you in a jail cell.
Listen, the gloves will come off, but I always use my words first, because you can always make something feel like shit.
Yes, I need to take notes from you.
Making them.
I need to take notes from you.
Sometimes you got to use your hands too. It's not it.
But sometimes I feel like, okay, real talk. I feel like I would be really pissed off if someone said that.
I feel like if somebody is like dictating who my kid can be friends with, I'll just look at her and be like, why don't we let the kids make the decision?
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Because we are not anybody. We don't have to be friends.
We don't have to be friends, yeah.
But if our kids want to continue to be friends, let them. And if they don't, they won't.
Yeah.
And I think I would also go back and share this with my son and be like, just an FYI, like this is kind of where they stand, because they don't, whatever, agree with that parenting style. You just don't let it affect your friendship. If it does, because he is going to let it affect your friendship, then you are going to see true colors of this person.
Yeah. And then you know who your real friends are.
And
so
I think, again, maybe my son will experience a heartache of what it is to lose a friend, but at least I can feel like I supported him every step of the way.
Love that.
One of the most recent things that I've been shamed for is choosing to go gray. I've had pretty much 80% gray hair since my early 20s and spent over a decade dyeing it. Anytime my roots would show, which is every couple of weeks, I would get comments. I was exhausted by it, and my husband actually preferred my gray hair. So I stopped dyeing it. And lo and behold, here came all the comments. The shame was unbelievable. Everybody kept saying I look like an old maid. Yes, they kept calling me mussy.
What?
And my husband would start looking elsewhere for a rishta because he doesn't find me attractive anymore. I can't take these desi relatives.
Oh my God. That's kind of whack.
This is crazy.
Let people be who they want to be.
Also, like, yo, gray and white is so in now.
Oh my God. But can I also say, like, do I control the amount of grays that pop out of my head?
Facts.
And I'll be honest, as soon as I had kids, the grays came. And they came with a vengeance. Okay? Like, your girl might color her hair, but like, some people cannot deal with it because they have a lot of grays. Like,
so I don't dye my hair.
Yeah.
I have said this. Y'all can see it. People have commented under our videos too.
Yeah.
Like gray hair, this, that, whatever. Guys, I just don't care to. I don't care to dye my hair. I don't want to.
Yeah.
If I can hide them, I do. But I've actually, so my mom got hair really early. Gray hair,
yeah.
like early in her 20s. And I started getting them early in my 20s too. Yeah. And it was not stress related. It's literally genetic.
Yeah, it is
right?
genetic.
Yes, of course, after I had kids, it's more.
Yeah.
But I have like all natural hair. I've never dyed it. And I just, there have been times where I've gone to like parties.
Yeah.
And I remember I sat down, it was like a backyard party, and I sat on like there was a chadar on the floor, and I sat in the grass, and there was an auntie sitting behind me in a chair, and she whispers to the other auntie like this, and she's like, hi, iske baal dekho, iske kitne white ho gaye.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And I was sitting with her, and then I turned around and I was like, आपको मसला है?
Oh my
And she
god.
just looks at me, she's like, नहीं बेटा मैं वैसे कह रही हूँ, तुम्हारी बहुत एज लगने लग जाती है, तुम इसको डाई किया करो, ये ऐसे अच्छे नहीं लगते.
What the heck?
And the comments would not
Yo,
stop.
aunties need to stay in their lane.
Honestly.
Ugh. I feel like that is so overwhelming. Like, you know what? If somebody chooses to like do that, listen, forget the fact that it's a gray hair. Somebody could choose to dye their hair blue, okay, or red. Do your thing. Do your thing. It should not
Honestly.
concern any. You know what's really triggering me? That comment of like your husband's not going to like you.
That?
Get the hell out of here. That's shots fired to me. I can't handle that stuff. I would be like, are you kidding me? Believe me, he loves me fine enough.
You know what I would say? I'd just be like, ask his mom who's responsible for my gray hair. Fire those shots back, girl. Fire those shots back.
No, I think that's so like, I think a lot of the times it's just because that generation has just been like ingrained to be a certain way. Long, thick hair, you know, always like look put together, this and that. And like, we are just a different gen. Like, we are a lot more bolder with our choices and we just want to do what's easy for us.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to go out and spend $700 on a hair color. Knowing that you can't do box hair color because that stuff messes up your hair even more. So like, if somebody wants to do that, let them do it.
And it also goes back to how you always say, like, people can have like actual underlying hair conditions. I suffer from like alopecia.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I don't dye my hair.
Yeah.
But do I need to go and like, the thing is, you know what happens is like an auntie will make a comment to you about your hair, okay? And then you just get so, you feel the need to defend yourself so much.
Yeah.
And then in hindsight, you're like, oh, I hate that I feel like I have to always fight for myself. And these aunties are so smart, so chalak.
Yeah.
They'll do it when they know that your guard is down.
Yeah.
They'll
yeah.
attack you when they know your husband is around, or
Yeah.
when they know your mom isn't around, or whatever. And it's just that's
Or
when you
like,
feel
yeah.
like, do I really need to go and tell every auntie that I have alopecia? And that's why I'm not dyeing my hair.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, okay,
Or
but
they'll
you
be
should
like,
still dye.
Beta, tum na haldi.
Yo, they'll be like, "Fendi laga lo." I'm like, all right, let me roll through with friggin' red ass hair. Like, that's what you want me to have? I'm not doing that.
Or sometimes they don't, it's not that they say it without your parent present, they'll say it with your parent present because they know your parent is going to get more peer pressure to say something to you because
for
they
real.
said it. You
Yeah.
know?
Or the parent is gonna be like, हाँ मैंने इसको कहा ये मेरी नहीं सुनती.
right? And then you just look even worse.
And you look at your mom like,
God.
Ma, just take my side
Right.
for once.
Or it's like the way you dress. You know, it's like outward appearance wise, it could be really anything, right? It could be how you're dressing, could be your hair color, it could be the style that you choose your hair to be. Like if some people cut their hair short and it's just like you look like a boy, you know, like all this stuff that people constantly need to like shame you for because for them that's not their vision of what beautiful is. But like, who asked you?
Yeah.
You focus on yourself.
Auntie,
okay?
at your age and stop
Yeah,
dyeing your hair.
like-
we all know you're 70.
I know, right? My God. Like sometimes I'm just like, leave people alone, let them be.
Yeah.
We have enough stuff on our plate. I just think sometimes they need something to talk about.
Exactly.
And that's like the flavor of the day.
You know, the majority of people who messaged us about this was a lot of body shaming and a lot of colorism and like being shamed for being a certain skin tone.
Yeah.
And I just feel like so much of the shame comes around the fact that you don't look like, quote unquote, the ideal, what an ideal woman looks
Yeah.
like. Which really,
What the hell is that?
that?
I want to know too.
I want to know too.
I'll tell you what it is for Desi's. Honestly, real talk. She has to be Gori Chiki. Obvi. If you got colored eyes, you are
Oh, you scored some real points with God.
You gotta have that thick hair that you can tie in a fat gut.
Yo.
Okay, you gotta have it. You gotta have it, and you gotta be slim and trim.
You gotta be
What else?
Katrina Kaif with light eyes.
Yeah, pretty much.
A mishmash, Ashwarya Rai and Katrina Kaif.
Yeah. The whiter, the better. That's what
for
it is.
real.
It's so sad.
But yo, you
Like-
can't be too tall because Katrina Kaif is a little too tall.
And don't have too big feet, guys. Come on now. Slim it down a little bit.
yeah, don't have thick hips.
Don't have hairy arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're not allowed to wax.
Yeah. But you're not, and no shaving is allowed. Okay. Don't do your eyebrows. Somebody said that too. Like I wasn't allowed to do my eyebrows, and I did them too early. Okay. So don't do your eyebrows, and you gotta have the mustache. I don't know. Okay.
You
Like
can bleach your mustache, but don't wax it. Make it make sense.
don't have big childbearing hips. Make sure they're lean. Okay.
But also have the childbearing
And have
hips.
great skin, because if even one pimple comes up, it's over for you.
Ooh, it's over.
It's over. It's over.
Also, don't ever go in the sun because you're gonna get dark.
Oh yeah, always wear a hat and wear gloves at all times.
Have driving gloves. Have an umbrella at all times.
Don't wear too much makeup. It's too much. It's excessive.
You have to look natural, but also cover up your dark circles.
Yeah. And then you have to put tail in your head at home, but don't wear that tail head out. Okay, don't do that. No, do not smell like tadka. Do not.
But also, you better make the best dal chawal anybody's ever tasted.
Like, who the hell can upkeep this
You can
shit?
have a nose piercing, but don't pierce your ears.
Or like, don't over pierce.
Don't over pierce.
You can have one, and that's it.
Don't
one
be like
done.
Hina and Uruje, but be like Hina and Uruje.
And like, you know, everything just has to be so perfect at all times.
You can wear heels, but make sure they're not too high.
And the clothes can't be too tight because you're showing too much of yourself. Okay. Don't show too much skin.
Don't show too much.
Don't show the cleavage. Okay. Don't you dare. Okay.
But also make yourself attractive so that you can find a nice husband.
Yes.
Also beg a doctor.
But also don't talk too much. Don't talk too much. It's too much. It's excessive. Talking
Don't
too much is
swear.
not good. No. And don't laugh too loud either.
But also, if you're gonna laugh, make sure it's cute. Don't have a snorty laugh like Uruje.
Honestly, can't handle it. I'm listing this list off and I'm like, I could go on forever.
I could go on.
And so could you.
Guys, we could do this forever. Should we just have the whole episode where we go back and forth like this?
But I think about it, I'm like, is there anyone like this?
No.
Is there anyone like, and I feel like, let's say there is a girl like this. That girl's probably killing herself to be like this.
For real.
She's killing herself, slaving away daily to achieve this
And
perfection.
you want to know something? That mom probably has such high hopes of who she's gonna marry.
Oh man,
So the man can like never walk through the door for her.
but can you imagine? Can you imagine having to fit that?
Yeah.
It's like, what? How do you fit that?
And then that girl finds someone and everyone's like, she deserves better.
Oh my
Look at who
god.
she married.
That.
Look at this couple. Jodi to banti nahi hai.
Or and then they have kids, and then the kid, you're like, I don't know, like, who did the kid look like?
वैसे बाप पे गया है.
Or like, why is the kid so dark?
So you
like,
know how, have you ever read about Ashwarya's daughter?
yeah,
The way they slam her in the media.
Do they really?
Like, yeah, because they're like, she doesn't look like Ashwarya.
oh,
Like whenever I see comments on Ashwarya's daughter, they always like go after her and they're like, oh, she's not as pretty as Ashwarya Rai. So it's like, if, even if you fit the mold of
You don't
what
fit the
what
mold,
is
yeah.
supposed to be like this ideal woman,
yeah,
you're gonna end up marrying somebody, or you're gonna have kids, or somebody in your family is gonna be like, okay, well, only she fits the mold, nobody else does, and then
Yeah.
you get shamed for
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things. You know what I mean?
yeah. But I mean, I also think like, well, she married someone else, so like the child is gonna come out looking like both of them. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So like, how is that the child's fault or like the
Honestly.
parents' fault? I think they just like Aishwarya Rai was at this like peak
Yeah.
of like she's like the peak of beautiful.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If let's just say you fit the quote unquote mold, okay, and then you're with someone who may not, okay, and you're hearing like the guy is just like an average person,
Yeah.
okay. Do you feel like he now has pressure to overdo it so that he can meet your standards?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if I would have that pressure, but maybe he would feel that pressure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He would feel the pressure to overcompensate to meet your quote unquote the way people uphold your beauty standards in society.
I think if enough people say that to anyone, they would be self-conscious.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like I think of it as myself. Somebody comes up to me and is like, oh, like, you know, the person that you're with is so good looking, and like they're constantly boosting him. And for me, it's just like, well, you know, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. I would feel so down.
Yeah.
Even if I was super confident, if enough people say something, then you do think about it.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about something.
Okay, I'll go.
Has anybody ever told you that you should always marry somebody who's not as good looking as you?
No.
Okay, so I was told growing up
Yeah.
that you should always marry somebody who's like
Better looking than you?
no,
not as good.
not better looking than
Oh.
you. Because you always want to be the prize.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a bad thing?
I don't know.
I don't mind being the
I
prize.
mean, I want to be the prize all the time.
Being the prize, but like you also want to marry someone that's really good looking.
You want to be attracted to the person you marry.
I gotta get up in the morning, turn around, and look at your
Look
face.
at your booty.
Imagine it was not a face I liked. I would be like, oh God.
Hi.
For God's sake.
Day 362. Roll over.
X on the calendar. Like, I could never do that.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, what is their version of beautiful?
Yeah,
Everyone's version of beautiful, like even what your parents think is beautiful versus what you think is beautiful is so different.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could definitely see aunties saying stuff like
Right?
that. They're so unhinged, honestly. Their comments are so unhinged.
The comments are just,
oh my God.
They
just do not make sense. Yeah.
I'm 41 and it's the way people look at you like you are the problem.
Yeah, that, and also when you are married and you choose either not to have kids or you choose to only have one kid.
Oh, that's a big one.
Right? I think the married thing is like, it's a very, at this point, I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
A lot more for girls, I would say.
And honestly, they do look at you and they think you're the problem.
Yeah, they do.
Nobody's ever sympathetic towards that situation.
Yeah. It's really sad because I think when a lot of the people that are doing the judging are the ones that are married, and they are like set in their life when it comes to a relationship, I'm saying. I mean, they could be married to a very toxic person, but just because they've checked that off where it's like, I'm married, now I can freely judge you because, hey, I got married when I was like 21 and look at you, you waited 20 years. And what are you waiting for? You can't have all these expectations. No, I didn't have that many expectations. Like I just looked for like a few things and that's what I wanted and I'm happy. And sometimes you're like, but are you happy though? Are you?
That's a real question.
Yeah, I think that. And then like also like when people are like, I don't know if I want to have kids. I think some people just don't. Some people just don't want to have kids.
Honestly, I don't know if I can I say something?
Yeah.
How come everybody on this planet is not expected to have the exact same career or the exact same job? Okay.
Yeah.
Or the exact same education or meet the same quote unquote, I don't know, standards in the kitchen. But every single woman is expected to be a mom.
Yeah.
That to me is something I can never wrap my head around. How can you expect every single female out here to give birth and be the best mom and that's just going to come to them?
Exactly.
That expectation to me is wild. Like you don't expect me to be a doctor.
Yeah.
You don't expect me to be a lawyer. You don't expect me to be an engineer, even though
Yeah.
you might know somebody else who is.
Yeah.
But you expect both of us to be a mom.
Yeah. That's so true.
You know what I mean?
And sometimes it's also just like, how do you know that person does not have like a medical issue? Wait, how do you know that it's not the girl and it's the guy?
And a lot of times it is the guy.
Right?
But the guys never get shamed for it.
No, they never get shamed for it. But as soon as somebody finds out it's the girl.
Koi hoga.
Yeah, koi problem.
Koi problem. Koi health problem.
Yeah. And it's so unfair because that could be one of the reasons. The other reason could just be that like, hey, they just don't want kids.
But also like, then let's say you go through all of these health issues, you have IVF and you are blessed with a baby. Then it's like, when are you having your second one?
Or like, oh my God, she had to have a baby through IVF.
Yeah. But also like, you know, women get shamed for having like a C-section.
Everything, man.
Everything.
You guys, honestly,
You
look
waited
at
too long to have kids. Or you got pregnant right away. And then they're backtracking your
wedding night. It's like, let's calculate. Okay, so it's been 9.5 months now.
But they're like, अच्छा इसीलिए इतनी जल्दी निकाह किया था.
Oh my God.
ये पहले का कुछ situation है.
Oh God.
इसीलिए हम dating नहीं करते.
Oh my God. You guys, when we sit here, sometimes we're saying these things and we're like, we are exhausted. हम थक गए हैं. We're tired. Okay.
मेरा तो दिमाग घूम रहा है कि ये बातें खत्म कब होंगी.
मेरा तो फिर गया है.
I'm
done, yo. I'm done.
कोई मुझे coffee बना के दे.
You just had one. You definitely
I need another one because
it's very overwhelming. It's very. I also think the shaming is like it's done to guys too. It's not just done to girls.
For real.
But like it's so excessive. It is so excessive, and I can't say that it's just shaming in our community. It's definitely outside of our community too. I also think like we were talking about this. Where like sometimes because we've been taught to be ashamed of everything, we also grow up to shame ourselves. Like we will. You know, like know that like our parents might not like something. And then because we've been told that our whole life when we grow up, even though our parents are not with us anymore, they're living in their own house or they're not here, we're still like, oh, but yeah, I'm not a good person because I did such and such thing. I'm not good because I dressed this way or like whatever it might be.
But it also trickles down to us as moms.
Yeah.
Because when I take my kids out and they have a meltdown or they're screaming at me, I feel so much shame. Like it just comes on me, right? And it's daunting.
It's so daunting.
And I'll sit there like, oh my God, people are going to judge me. Like my kid's not listening or whatever. And I'm not even the mom to yell back at my kids or like quote unquote discipline them that way. And then it's like, oh, it's because isko to आता ही नहीं है.
Yeah.
ये तो संभाल नहीं सकती अपने
Or
बच्चों
if
को.
you did discipline your kids,
Then it's
right?
like, oh, itni sakti hai. Like, you don't be doing that. Don't be treating your kids that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's everything. Honestly, if you think about it, shame in our community, like, is literally in every single act that we
I think so too.
participate in
I think
our
so
daily
too.
lives.
And it's also just it starts with your family, of course, because that's where it's initially started, right? Where you've been shamed for like being different, if you're more outspoken, if you dress a certain way and you don't want to just like, you know, be exactly the way that your parents wanted you to be, and you get shamed for everything. But my question to you is like, we talk about all this happening, but like, how do we change it? Like, what do we do to fix it? Can it be fixed?
I don't think it can ever be fixed, but I do think the greatest thing that you can do, and I do think this personally comes with age, is that you will eventually learn to like shut the noise off.
I think so
because
too.
I don't think it'll ever go away.
Yeah, I think
if
so
I'm
too.
self-reflecting right now, like I said, when you go back and you think about when your kid has a tantrum in public or like the mom shaming, any of that, all of that, you know, even when you're like a new wife, a new bride, and you're like, let's say you're living with your in-laws or you're not living with your in-laws, you feel so much shame for certain things that you did or did not do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like I don't think it'll ever stop. I think when you truly know who you are as an individual and you know yourself, then you will just eventually realize you are just going to brush your shoulder off.
I think so too. I also think it takes a lot of time to build that confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks because there's a lot of people that will actually put in the work into themselves, whether it's like through therapy or reading or whatever it is. You're going on your personal journey and you're like, okay, I want to make these changes in my life for my kids and for myself. But then you also have to realize that there's like a million people around you that are not doing that, that they think that they're fine the way they are. And so that's why I feel like you just have to focus on you. And if they come in and they say what they want to say, then you just have to, exactly what she said, be confident enough to just be like, okay, that's your thought. Moving on.
Not that it's easy.
Yeah, it's not.
And not that it doesn't get to you, because it gets to you no matter what.
So much.
Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you are feeling a little low and you're just like lying down in your bed and these thoughts come to your mind, it's a lot.
It is
right?
a lot.
But I think at the end of the day, if you are confident in who you are and what you want to do, in where you are in your life, I think you just have to trust your gut in the decisions that you make and have a conversation with your parents, an open conversation, being like, look, this is the way it is. Yeah, log kya kahenge is always going to be in our home. It is, that's not going to go away. But I'm confident in who I am, in where I am, in the decisions that I've made, and I need you to just support me on it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's also those moments where you might have parents that you're like, no matter what I talk to them about, they will never listen, because a lot of our parents are like that. And so you might not even want to talk to them. But then I think it's up to you to be like, okay, well, they're not going to understand me, but I have to unlearn a lot of the things that they taught to me that were not okay. And I think sometimes you can feel it, that like, this doesn't seem right. Like, it's not that big of a deal if I choose this path versus this one. I think you can gauge it. And if sometimes you can't, but I think ultimately, like, you have to do what is best for you. As selfish as it sounds, you really do. And you have to break from those like cycles that have never brought you any positivity.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. As you always know, please subscribe to our channel. It's linked here below. It does wonders for us. We really appreciate all of you that have been tuning in and commenting and liking. You can follow us on social medias. Our Instagram and our TikTok are listed below. And you can also listen to the episode on Apple Podcast and Spotify, but just make sure you guys give us that 5 stars. We appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.